So the jury has heard from both the state defense, and actually they've heard the rebuttal as well. We are watching that deliberations clock. The jury has had this case now 12 minutes. Let's bring in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar, who is standing by. Michael Jaafar, this closing argument by the defense was a lot shorter than the state's. The state's was an hour and a half. The defense's was about 30 minutes. Do you think that he hit the high points needed if there's one juror that may think that there's some reasonable doubt here?
He finished strong, Julie, with the whole thing about, you know, she had no motive, she had no motivation. Why would she do it? She moved the family every single time he was incarcerated. She moved the family to where he was incarcerated. And the prosecution wants you to believe that she killed him because she wanted to go to Jamaica. That doesn't make any sense. She could have done that at any time. She could have done it when he was incarcerated, but she didn't. When he was incarcerated, she would move her family to be close to him wherever he was incarcerated. And that little nudge to remind the jury that this guy, you know, the victim, he also was a felon. He was convicted. He would spend time in prison. None of you guys here spend time in prison, but this is who he was. So to think that she killed him just to go to Jamaica is ludicrous. That was his point. So I think he finished strong. Look, Julie, I can't help but think that had she not testified to the fact that she had fell down the stairs and grabbed a piece of the stairs and a piece of wood and inadvertently hit him in the face and then, like a Girl Scout, went back upstairs and didn't harm him, had he not allowed her to testify to that, I think that there would have been reasonable doubt there. Obviously, the witnesses against her were troubling, but the lack of motive and everything else, had she just been missing that, I can't help but think that it would be a much stronger case.
May have hurt herself taking the stand, and I agree with you, Michael, about the lack of a motive. That was a good thing for the defense to lean into, just because it doesn't seem that plausible that she would use that route to just move when it seems like she has no problem moving and leaving people.
Yeah. Until she gets on the
disagrees.
witness stand and starts speaking fake Italian, and this weird story about her leg getting grabbed and this tool. I don't know what tool is. I mean, she morphs into a 10-year-old Italian child. Boom! That's dead her in. Goodbye, I think, in my opinion. Boom. Okay, so of course that has been moved, just like Lori's, to Boise, to Ada County, much larger jury population, or potential jury pool there, and it is a larger jury pool.
For sure.
Still going to be difficult. Let's bring in Michael Jaafar, National Trial Attorney, and high-profile case like this, everybody's heard of it. It's just a matter of weeding out who can put it behind you. And if you're the defense, are you looking for a juror that has no idea what? I kind of remember vaguely, or do you want someone who they know about it and are willing to put their feelings behind them?
You're looking for somebody, obviously, who, in a perfect world, which does not exist anymore, you're looking for somebody who knows nothing about this, because in this case, there's the accusation that this person conspired to murder 2 children. Right? So obviously you want a jury pool that has never heard of the case, which again is not possible, right? There's a Netflix documentary about this. Everybody's heard about it. When you walk into these buildings, so you're a potential juror, you walk in, your device recognizes that you were in that courthouse. They don't know why, but they recognize. They start selling you products to help you keep your kids safe. They start recommending articles to read about this particular case. Jury sequestration is a thing gone past. It's a part of a bygone era. It doesn't exist. So as defense attorneys, you are forced to confront the fact that every single juror that you will ever see, even if you go to the moon and you have the trial on the moon, every single juror on the moon, on Mars, would have heard about this case because of the way technology is. So in a perfect world, you'd want a jury that doesn't know about it. It's not a perfect world. So the best thing you could do as a defense attorney, my friends I talk about, is get jurors that seem like they would be contrarian and seem like they would buck the popular sentiment and say, I'm going to look at the evidence, and I have an important part of this jurisprudence system, and my part is more important than any other part anybody else does, including these attorneys, which would be true. The jurors are more important than the attorneys or the judge. They're going to hold the power of life or death, in this case, in their hands.
You know, I'm wondering, to both of your points, if a juror who heard the trial sort of understood how the prosecution brought forth that trial against Lori Vallow Daybell and how they really emphasized that she was the ringleader, if that couldn't help the defense, because in this trial, we know the prosecution is going to say that Chad Daybell was the ringleader. I mean, he's the one that's looking at death in this case. Michael, how do you feel about that? That the person who was not called the ringleader before is the one who now is facing death?
I have two thoughts on this. First and foremost, if they try to do that in their opening statements, they're going to lose credibility. They're going to lose credibility with the jurors, because the defense attorney, you'd be salivating at that and say, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth, right? You're always looking as a defense attorney for any opportunity to say that either a key witness or an expert witness or the prosecution are talking out of both sides of their mouth, right? So you'd salivate at that. But I'm troubled by this, Julia, because they were not his kids. In the legal system, in my opinion, when they are not your kids, your burden is smaller than the burden of the actual parent.
Michael Jaafar, thanks so much for all of that information. Ted,
let's get a break. Yep,
it's been
my
great being
time
with
is
you.
done, but you're back.
We've got more ahead. We're actually going to focus on the Apple River stabbings trial. Stay with us.